morning, North Alabama. I am Zach Walker, your big, beautiful, bearded host here on Hometown Heartbeat with producer Connor in Dallas. Man, it's good to be back in the studio. I missed you more than you missed me because you still got to hear my voice. I promise you it's a lot easier here in the studio. Let's check in with the boys. Producer Connor, how are we?
Doing good. A little tired, but we're doing good.
Yeah, I feel like I got run over by a truck, personally. Vacation is hard. It's hard to come back from. It's not hard while you're there. It's hard to come back from. I spent, 8 days? I guess we left Friday and came back Saturday. So 8 days lounging around the beautiful beaches of Florida. And now I'm here at 5:05 a.m. on a Monday morning. Dallas, what's going on, buddy?
Oh, not much. Just in the studio, ready for a good show today, ready to have you back, honestly. It's a lot easier with you here, like you said.
Well, look, we got it figured out by Friday. I mean, by Friday we had all our kinks worked out in time for the last 60 minutes that we did remotely. But at least we've got it figured out, and now we know how to do it well. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Let me tell you something. Vacation with the family is always fun. We had lots of family. We had 3 toddlers in the house. Myself, my wife, my sister, her husband, my mom, my dad. In one house for 8 days, 7 days. And man, you know what, I learned something. I had a lot of time to reflect because I do the show, right? So I woke up earlier than most of the house. I do the show, and then I go sit at the beach for a little bit early before it got hotter than you know what. And I got to talk to my sister and my brother-in-law a lot. And their, what's the word? Their disinterest in politics. I mean, look, I hate politics. I say that on the show all the time. And then people are like, wait, but you talk about politics all the time. Well, it's kind of because it's what I'm supposed to do. I don't enjoy it. I enjoy talking, which I'm sure you can gather if you listen to the show at all. But their disinterest in like kind of what's going on in the world, not that they're disinterested, they're very much interested, but just talking about who we might vote for or whatever. And it's like, I'm writing in Nick Saban, that kind of a thing. Like, it doesn't really matter to them. And it's like, I mean, I understand that people have the right to feel that way. And I love my sister, and her husband is a fantastic. He's been on the podcast multiple times and will be on the show if I can get him to wake up early enough. But I don't understand it. There's too much going on in this world for us to be, what's the right word? Ignorant, willfully ignorant, uninterested. What's the right word? I don't know. I don't know what the right word is. But anyways, we had a great time outside of the fact that they don't care about what's going on in the world. No, I'm kidding. Take it back. Outside of that, we had a great time. But boy, it's good to be back. Did you sleep at the studio the whole time I was gone, Alice?
A little bit.
Like overnight, for real?
No, not
overnight.
overnight.
Oh, I was like, man, that worried about it. Oh, soccer. Communist sport. Shouldn't even be allowed. It's been the downfall of society. Oh, look at that. Everywhere soccer goes, a communist government follows. I'm just saying. It may not be exactly that, but it's what it seems like anyways. Let's do our Chicago shooting report. We need a music. We need to create some kind of no, don't play it because we'll get boogered up on the live stream, which, by the way, if you're not watching the live stream, Connor, I'm assuming we're streaming.
We are.
Indeed. Go to thehometownheartbeat.com, thehometownheartbeat.com. At the top, click watch live, listen live. Hey. So now it is time for our Chicago shooting update.
Tasteful.
Oh, what'd you say, Connor? I didn't hear you.
Tasteful.
Let's run that back one more time. Now it's time for your Chicago weekend shooting update. What was that? Was that a bomb?
Yeah,
Was that
there
a
must
bomb?
be different ones on there. I don't know. It was the same button.
Oh, that's so funny. What's not funny is the fact that 54 people have been shot in Chicago this weekend, including 9 dead. Wow. But it's a gun-free zone. Probably when they defund the police, things will get better. It's just unbelievable to me that that's allowed to continue. It's worse than like Fallujah. Like it's literally like going to Chicago is like going to a third world country. And this particular site that I'm looking at here has a map of the shootings, and it's unbelievable. I mean, it's unbelievable how indiscriminate they are, how spread out they are. Now they are kind of clustered in the, there are obviously not very many of them, where in Hyde Park where the Obamas live, or own a home. It's just, I don't know. How do we allow the society to get to this point? I don't understand that. We got a lot to talk about today. Man, we got to talk about those attorneys that got, did you see that? They raided their house and confiscated their weapons.
Oh, that couple that.
Yeah, the McCleskys or whatever they are.
I saw that.
Holy crap. We raiding Americans' homes and taking their firearms now?
I guess so.
Hey, America, wake up. What did Mo Brooks say the other day? It's time to get in the fight. It's time to get in the fight. When we had him on, I don't remember. We've interviewed him a couple times on this show and then on the Jeff Poor show when we guest hosted. But he made some good points about Americans needing to not be, what's the right word? Indifferent.
Don't be on the sidelines type of thing.
Yeah, don't be on the sidelines type of thing. Well, you don't play the game to be on the sidelines, do you?
No.
You play the game to, in your case, miss the layup going down the lane. That same arm, same leg thing, that's kind of the key, right? I'm not very good at basketball. If you're watching the stream, you see me doing my same arm, same leg thing. We're practicing our layups here in the studio this morning. It is Monday morning. It is early. I feel like I've been run over by a train because I've just returned from vacation. If you've missed the last 5 days of the show, shame on you, but I give you a pass because it was a best of from Monday through Friday, from 5 to 6, and then from 6 to 7 we attempted a live remote show every morning, and except for Wednesday, and it actually went okay there towards the end. But the hard part was listening to you, the best audience in talk radio history. So we want to hear from you this morning. 1-866-494-WVNN. Every segment could be a phone segment as far as I'm concerned. Let's get the phones lighting up. Let's talk to the people. The people they've got to be willing. They've got to have something to say, don't they? Don't you think?
They were able to build up their anger last week.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait for Rich's call. Let's go ahead and get the phone lines lit up. 1-866-494-WVNN. You're listening to Hometown Heartbeat with your big, beautiful, bearded host, Zach Walker, thehometownheartbeat.com, thehometownheartbeat.com. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Hometown Heartbeat. I'm your big, beautiful, weird host, Zach Walker, checking in with producer Connor in Dallas this morning. Boy, oh boy. What was that? Did somebody fart? Boy, oh boy, do we have some good headlines for you this morning, as long as you like lunacy. What about old AOC and the squad? Have you ever listened to a more ignorant person speak in your entire life? I don't know that I have. I literally think she may be the peak of stupidity.
She's up there for sure.
I mean, this right here has to make Connor cringe just listening to this. I mean, Connor's the smartest guy in the room at all times, and I'm not a smart man, never claimed to be, and this terrifies me. So New York City experiencing a humongous increase in crime. Shocker! That's what happens when you have communist leadership. And anyways, I'm not even going to go there. I hate politics, remember? 200% increase in shootings between, check this out, June 15th and July 2nd. That would be a total of 17 days. It took 17 days for shootings to increase by 200%. Over the 4th of July holiday, 64 people were shot and 11 died. Compared to last year, a humongous increase in shootings. There was one especially heartbreaking shooting caught of a father gunned down in broad daylight while walking hand in hand with his 6-year-old daughter. Can you imagine?
No, I think I saw that video too. It's pretty sad.
Did you?
I think so. It was some form of shooting with a dad and his daughter, and that's just, it's sad stuff.
So here's the thing. For 3 decades, the city of New York, crime was decreasing for 3 decades. Because back 3 decades ago, it was a very, very, very dangerous place, right? A lot of drugs, a lot of gangs, a lot of, mobs. We've all seen the movies, right? So on Thursday, during a virtual town hall, Ocasio-Cortez talked about the, quote, uptick in crime. Did you hear what I just said? The quote uptick in crime. Just a quick little uptick here. That's like saying there's an uptick on the AC. Hey, turn the thermostat down a couple degrees. There's been an uptick in the temperature. Like, this is an explosion. Like, if this was the same thermostat illustration, you would not recover from this. In early June, Bill de Blasio announced he's moving resources. He cut $1 billion. Billion. AOC scoffed at the proposal, calling it a disingenuous illusion. She said, quote, defunding police means defunding police. Here we go. On Thursday, during a virtual town hall, Ocasio-Cortez talks about the, quote, uptick in crime, pointed out that cuts to the NYPD hasn't happened yet, and there is still an increase in crime. Well, that's because they disbanded their plainclothes unit, but that's neither here nor there. But listen to this quote. Do we think this has to do with the fact that there's record unemployment in the United States right now? Ocasio-Cortez continued. The fact that people are at a level of economic desperation that we have not seen since the Great Recession? The Democrat Socialist hypothesized that the increase in NYC violence could stem from rent demands and people shoplifting bread. Connor, just out of curiosity, how does that make you feel, being the smartest guy in the room?
She's blaming. I'm a little confused as to what.
So she is saying that the increase or quote unquote uptick in crime in NYC could stem from the fact that people have to pay their rent and it's hard, or they're shoplifting bread because they're hungry. Basically saying unemployment is the cause for the 200% increase in violent crime in New York.
So violent crime.
Yes.
That seems like I can understand making a connection between poverty and other types of crime, but violent crime, I'm not sure if I see it.
Yeah, no, that's because it's not there. Petty crime is one thing. Here's some more quotes just to get Connor really wired up. Maybe this has to do with the fact people aren't paying their rent and they're scared to pay their rent. And they go out and they need to feed their child, and so they don't have money. So you have to, they're put in a position. Her quotes are hard to follow. She is literally the dumbest person on the face of the planet. They feel like they either need to shoplift some bread or go hungry that night. So they gun down somebody in the street. That makes sense. Man, I need some bread. Bang, bang, bang. Like, what? This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Check this out. Petty larceny, stealing of personal property is down 7.5%. So it's not like, okay, petty larceny, stealing of personal property of value less than $1,000, down 7.5% compared to last year. Murder up 27.1%. So petty crime down 7.5%. Why commit petty crime? Petty criminals are afraid to go out in the streets. Petty criminals are afraid to be criminals because real criminals will bang, bang, bang. Like, it's crazy. This is absurdity. She is literally, the fact that she has a platform, the fact that she's been elected should terrify you. This idiot got put in office by people over the age of 18 who decided she would be a good choice. Oh my gosh.
And she's one of the faces of the party, too.
She's not anymore. They're trying to distance themselves from her pretty quickly. I mean, her and the whatever they call themselves went way
The squad.
The squad. They went off the ranch, dude. And even crazy Nancy Pelosi. And by the way, she is certifiable. But even Nancy Pelosi's like, this is the we gotta look. If Nancy Pelosi thinks you're dumb, you're real dumb. Because she's not smart to be. Either that or she's brilliant. I can't decide. She's either the most master manipulator or she's just, I don't know.
AOC or Nancy?
Nancy. No, I think she's taken one too many vodka orange juices, before 9 a.m. That really just kind of, I mean, look, it got my day fired up. Sure, I get you, whatever. I mean, I probably wouldn't start at 5.25, but, here we are, sitting here at 10:30 or something. I might look into it. Especially, at the beach or something, maybe. You never know. I mean, you could have you a drink or two, but, going up there to Capitol Hill and getting the old vodka orange to get your morning started, drinking your breakfast, may have just kind of burned up some of the wavelength there in her old brain. But no, I mean, this is just so the only disingenuous illusion in this entire story is AOC in general. She is a disingenuous illusion. That's all she is. She is nothing more than a disingenuous illusion. And the fact of the matter is, I don't know. All this is fake. Every bit of this is fake. All this is fake. None of it's real. She doesn't mean it. It's just. Then you got the USA Today, equally as stupid. Like the whole publication, equally as stupid. So they're fact-checking, right? Now that's this new thing is fact-checking. Everybody's fact-checking. The claim. Trump campaign shirts feature Imperial Eagle, a Nazi symbol. Our ruling, true. It's literally the eagle that we've used since the beginning.
Are they talking about that one on his mask?
No. There's you need to look at it. There's a tweet that came out, and it's got a picture of a black man wearing a shirt that says "America First." It's got an eagle on the top of it, and the eagle is sitting on top of a flag. It's a flag circle, right? There it is, right there. There's your picture. And so, I mean, the same symbol is literally on Nancy Pelosi's website. The eagle has been used by Americans from the beginning of America. Like, this is literally the meaning of propaganda. This is what Red China looks like. This is the type of news that comes out of China. Truly. And then the reaction was so swift and just beat. I mean, I'm talking about people came out and crucified these people. Here is their correction. Okay, here's their correction. Clarification. The claim that Trump 2020 has put out a T-shirt with a symbol similar to Nazi eagle is being criticized for it is true. Worth noting, the eagle is a longtime U.S. symbol, too. That's their clarification. Clarification. Eagle, also American. Awesome. Like, is this what folks, if you don't understand how important 2020 is, you too are an idiot. Like, yes, you in the back of the room that just looked up and like, what? Yeah, you're an idiot. If you don't understand how important this election is in November, you are an idiot. This is literally, potentially, the turning point of the country. Literally. I mean, it's that important. When people like AOC can get duly elected, Lord have mercy on us. You listen to Hometown Heartbeat. I'm your big, beautiful, bearded host. We'll be right back. Beat. I am your big, beautiful bearded host, Zach Walker, and we are live here in the studio this week. If you were watching the stream, I had to run out to my truck real quick, and literally nothing about anything I do is quick anymore. And so I'm a little bit out of breath. Apologize for that. I'm a big fella. Robert Rigsby watching us here live on the stream. If you're not watching us on the stream, you're probably wrong. Robert, good morning to you, buddy. Good to be back. Go to thehometownheartbeat.com, thehometownheartbeat.com. Check watch live at the top. Sorry, I've flustered myself here. Deep breaths. Do it with me. Right? Oh, I'm sorry. That's labor breathing. My bad. Do we want to talk coronavirus? I don't think they're ready for it. Well, let's save that for the 6 o'clock hour. The 5 o'clock hour, they get a little, it's a little bit different audience, different go of things. Anyways, okay, so we're back. Long week vacation. We've talked about Chicago. We did our tasteful shooting update, as Connor called it. We've talked about AOC and how stupid she is. If you missed that, I'm sorry. You have to go back and listen to the podcast, because, boy, she's stupid. Let's talk about Portland, Oregon. Is anybody familiar with what's going on in Portland? Anybody? Bueller? Good. So there's a new group. Wrong button. New group on the rise here that seem to be quite violent. They seem to be also quite ignorant, but definitely violent, definitely playing a major role in what's in unfolding there in Portland. Mayor Ted Wheeler is an idiot. He's a Democrat, which is pretty obvious given what I'm about to tell you. But he took to Twitter on Sunday night, so last night, to give an update on the city's condition as violent protests continue. Wheeler pointed to one protester who suffered a gruesome injury on Saturday night, prompted the U.S. Marshal Service to investigate. Let's click over here and see. So, let's see. One person was badly injured. Facial reconstruction surgery. Struck in the head by what his friends described as an impact munition. What in the world is a, quote, impact munition?
Would that be like a rubber bullet or something? Maybe is what they were talking about. I don't know either. I'm just
It doesn't appear to be that. I mean, because it was from one protester to another. It was protester on protester violence, I believe. Anyway, so this idiot comes out and says, we are now more than a month and a half into witnessing nightly violence on our streets. Portland continues to be used as a staging ground for violence night after night. This is causing unprecedented harm to our community's livelihoods, and Portlanders continue to fear for their safety. My main concern is this, that the continuing violence will lead to further injuries or death. Then do something! You freaking idiot! Do something! You are the leader. Step up and lead. Make a decision, grow a pair, do something. This is your time to shine there, Mayor Ted, whatever your name is. Mayor Ted Wheeler, you were elected for this. Portland, Oregon. Hey, I know I got a lot of listeners to this show from Portland, Oregon. So I just want to make sure that you hear me, Portland. Your mayor's an idiot. Your mayor's an idiot. He might be idiot of the day. We need a song for that, too. We got to come up. We are so slacking right now. Well, not really. We've only been doing this for 2 weeks. So we've got some time to grow. But I expect high production value out of the gate. Can you write music or play any instruments, Dallas? Because you could sing our jingle. Yeah,
I have GarageBand and a keyboard with the drums on it, too.
Okay, well, let's we'll have to He's got GarageBand, folks, so he might as well be Pharrell over there, doing his thing. But no, this mayor here is an idiot. He is an idiot, and I think we've got Dan from Madison calling in. Hopefully, Dan thinks he's an idiot. Find out. Dan from Madison, bring it in here, big guy.
Well, the mayor, his first name is Ted, right?
Yeah,
his
Ted.
last name should be Bear. Teddy Bear, you sissy. I swear to God. You know what gets me, my man? You know what gets me?
What's that?
You're right. Let's start growing, said, okay? You people are ridiculous, all right? And you leaders, if you're not a good leader and you can't lead, then step down and let somebody else take the job because you're not doing your job. And wherever I work in this country, any place I work, if I didn't do my job, see you later, pal.
What is it that you do for a living, Dan from Madison?
Well, I've done it for 26 years, carry mail.
Oh, toting the mail, Dan. That's right, Dan. I've asked you that before. Here's the problem, Dan. Here's the problem. The mayor probably thinks he's doing a good job, and apparently, because this isn't his first go at being a communist. I mean, he's been a communist for a while, so obviously the people of Portland think he's done well enough. Now, hopefully, this is enough to sway them in the other way so that at the election, I mean, that's how we make our voice heard, Dan, is we vote, right? And let's not forget that tomorrow we are voting for Tommy Tuberville. And it's one of those things that you know, you've got to speak up. You got to make your voice heard. You got to do something. But no, Dan, you are correct. This man is an idiot. And I mean, again, I think Dan hit the nail on the head. Like, if you're incapable of doing your job, then find another job. But unfortunately, and he nailed it, Teddy Bear. That's so good. He's soft. This millennial soft mayor is it might as well be a teddy bear because he has no backbone to stand up to this obvious insanity that is going on in Portland. Like, Mr. Mayor, sir, if your biggest concern is truly the health and wellness of your constituents, you would act differently. This is one of those moments in life where my favorite saying, people don't always live what they profess with their mouth, but they absolutely live. Like, their life reflects. Your life might not reflect what you say. And I hope that I never fall into that category. I have at points in my life. But your life might not reflect what you say with your mouth, but it's dang sure going to reflect what you believe. What is in your heart, who you are as a person, your convictions, morally, ethically, your relationship with Christ, all of those things. If you say it with your mouth, it doesn't make it true. But your life, on the other hand, what you do every day, will absolutely reflect what you believe. This man here, he's speaking with his mouth and saying, my concern is for my people. His actions are saying, I couldn't care less. And quite frankly, it's sad, but it doesn't surprise me coming out of Portland. And for those of you that are wondering what a society of socialist Democrats look like, there it is. There it is. That's what we have to look forward to in November. That's why I'm telling you, and that's why you need to listen, that November 2020, is the most important election probably in recorded human. Since we dumped tea into the freaking harbor and picked up arms, what happens in November may be the most important thing that's happened in this country's history. And I truly believe that. I'm not a Trump fan. You've heard me talk about him since this show started. You've heard me say what I have to say about Trump, and not much of it is good in terms of who he is, his maybe his character, his moral compass. Like, he and I would disagree on a lot of things. But he is no doubt the best candidate that we have, one. And the job he's done demonstrates to me that he is the right candidate. Furthermore, all authority comes from God, and we have to trust in that. We have to believe in that, and it will It will all take shape according to his will and his plan, but we have our role to play in that, and it's time to play it. You've been listening to Hometown Heartbeat on WVNN, thehometownheartbeat.com, thehometownheartbeat.com. Check us out on Facegram, Twitter box, you name it, we're there, at Your Bearded Host on Twitter. We'll be right back. Town Heartbeat. I'm your big, beautiful, bearded host, Zach Walker, and we out here. Hey, you. Hey, you. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Hey, you.
Hey,
There he is. Hey, you. All right. Never mind. I take it all back. Everything nice I've ever said about you, I take back. All right. So there's a story out here that is a little bit scary to me. 5 black people, 3 males, 2 females, broke into the home of an 83-year-old lady in Georgia. Looks like a little bit older of a story. She didn't have any money. They beat the heck out of her. Poured lighter fluid on her, lit her on fire. She died. Okay. Now, let's pretend, because I've not been able to substantiate. This is a social media post. Okay, so we got to be careful. Let's call it hypothetical for now. While I look it up. Because it's happened. It's not just this one, but there's no looting, rioting, protest. And this isn't a segment about the story as much as it is about the response, because as I'm sitting here looking through Facebook and I'm watching people respond, I'm seeing people say things like, yeah, but police are misusing their power, killing people, and getting away with it. That's why there's protest. So again, let me reiterate. Her life isn't as important, I guess, as anyone else's life that has been killed. At what point can we land on life is life, period, regardless of color, regardless of race, denomination, whatever, religious background? I don't care. At what point, in the womb? How about Kanye though? Talking about, he's an idiot, and he's, Joel Osteen's going to be his running mate. Said the Babylon Bee, and that's not a fact. For those of you that don't know what the Babylon Bee is, first of all, you're wrong. It's probably the funniest news satire on the internet, with The Onion running a close second. But he's made some. How about the points he made about Planned Parenthood? Have you seen that?
I've seen some of his older remarks on it. I don't know if
since he declared he was running for president.
I haven't seen those.
Those will need to be saved for an entire segment. We can't touch those in a short segment. We're backed up against a hard break, so we'll have to come back to that. But again, let me go back to my question. Why? Give us a call, 1-866-494-WVNN, 1-866-494-WVNN. Let's talk about this. Why can we not land on all lives are important? I wish JR would call back. That was the best call I think we've ever taken. The guy that said, I think you sound like a racist, and he actually gave me the opportunity to articulate what I was actually saying. I clarified it, and then he absolutely brought it. That was one of the smartest callers we've ever had, and I would like to hear from him on a regular basis. So if you're listening, give us a call. Let's talk about why can we not land on the fact that all life is important, equally important? Because let me tell you something, folks. It is equally important. It will be at the foot of the cross, all important. Okay, so the story is true. It is true. It's old. It's 2016. So again, the dangers of social media, right? The story's 4 years old, but it does allow this conversation to take a different shape a little bit in terms of, let's see, 17-year-old kid. Broke into Dot Dow's home, beat her severely, poured lighter fluid on her, and set her on fire. That is gruesome. I would say, equally as egregious as kneeling on a man's neck, if not more so. And yet, there was no riot. There was no looting. There was no shooting in the streets. And again, I just don't. I can't understand either of them. I don't understand how Derek Chauvin did what he did. I don't understand how these 5 teenagers broke into a 83-year-old grandmother's house that they had no connection to, beat her to death, or beat her and then burned her alive, by the way.
Yeah, I don't think it's normal to just do that to somebody that you don't know.
No.
I mean, it's not normal to do it to anybody, period, but...
Hi, my name's Zach. I'm going to beat you and set you on fire. Like, that's not... I'd probably put that in your back pocket and keep that. I mean, that's probably not going to make you many friends.
Right.
You definitely won't be the most popular kid in the room or in your prison cell. But, you know, they got life in prison. They're doing their time. They got their... But again... What was the cost of that life? What was the value of Dot Dow's life? What was her value? The cops that were shot in Texas this weekend, what was their value? What was their life's value? I break it to you. It's the same as your value. It's the same as my value. It's the same as my son's value. You know what it's not the same as? An animal's value, a pet's value, a job's value, a company's value, your money's value. Those are not the same. And the left would have you believe that even after there's a heartbeat in the womb, that life doesn't matter. The left would have you believe that black lives would matter more than white lives. Don't get me wrong. Heard us here from the very beginning say that until black lives matter, all lives can't matter. And so I understand and articulate that very same point. I agree with it. I agree with the concept of the movement. But this is a real struggle for me, and it's something I've really been kind of chewing on over the past 7 days, sitting on the beach with my toes in the sand, my very sunburnt toes in the sand. You're listening to Hometown Heartbeat on WVNN. Check us out on Facebook or YouTube, thehometownheartbeat.com. Watch live at the top. Get the podcast. We'll be right back. back to Hometown Heartbeat. I'm your big, beautiful, bearded host, Zach Walker, checking in with producer Connor and Dallas. We still have yet to name Dallas. We got to get him a fun name like producer Connor.
DJ Dallas.
Ooh.
We missed that. That was right in front of our face the whole time.
Hey, Connor's back. Hey, buddy.
Hello.
How are you, man?
I'm doing good.
You're in the producer's closet over there. We got to get that camera in there like we've talked about 1,000 times. We'll make that happen this week. Dallas led with a good point. We're sitting here watching SportsCenter here in the studio, and he said, you know it's bad when SportsCenter leads with golf. Now, I'm quite fond of golf personally, but he's not wrong. Okay, so let's dive into very controversial topics because why not? So Kanye West, in his bid for the White House, has made some claims that are very true. But he said, quote, Planned Parenthood have been placed inside cities by white supremacists to do the devil's work. So let me and their response is any insinuation that abortion is black genocide is offensive and infantilizing, which I don't even know what that word means. Connor, do you know what that word means?
Well, root word is infant, so, like, dummy, like.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Thank you for that. That's our walking human dictionary, producer Connor. The real threat to black communities' safety, health, and life stems from lack of access to quality, affordable health care, police violence, and criminalization of the reproductive health care by anti-abortion opposition. So, literally, the threat to black people is the lack of ability to kill black people. That makes a lot of sense. So, let's dive into this because this is something that has been talked about at length, but I feel like it'd be time to circle back and hit it again. I got a trivia question for 5 points. Who is Margaret Sanger? Anybody? Bueller? Okay, nobody wants the points. The Planned Parenthood founder and eugenics advocate. Okay, on the record, eugenics. Another trivia question for 10 points. What is eugenics?
Isn't that like race cleansing or ethnic cleansing?
From the Merriam-Webster, the practice or advocacy of controlled selective breeding of human populations as by sterilization to improve the population's genetic composition. So, yes and no, not necessarily just race-wise, but basically population control. Let me just read. Don't let me do it. Let me read it to you. The pivot of civilization from 1922. Quote, we are paying for and even submitting to the dictates of an ever-increasing, unceasingly spawning class of human beings who should never have been born at all. From birth control and racial betterment in 1919, before eugenists and others who are laboring for racial betterment can succeed. You hear that? Before eugenists and others who are laboring for racial betterment can succeed, they must first clear the way for birth control. Like the advocates of birth control, the eugenists, for instance, are seeking to assist the race towards the elimination of the unfit. Both are seeking a single end, but they lay emphasis upon different methods. From a plan for peace in 1932, the government should, quote, give certain dysgenic groups in our population their choice of segregation or sterilization, a response to which Planned Parenthood came out of. And finally, the essence of Margaret Sanger from 1921, the eugenic value of birth control. Today's eugenics is suggested by the most diverse minds as the most adequate and thorough avenue in the solution of racial, political, and social problems. Sanger skillfully crafted her language for caring for children and women while at the same time blatantly spewing her repugnance for the unfit, the, quote, garden weeds, and, quote, the human beings who should never have been born at all. In March 3rd of 1938, Sanger says, quote, there are 1,700 special courts and 27 higher courts in Germany to review the cases certified for sterilization there. And she assured her audience that, quote, the rights of the individual could be equally well safeguarded here. German rights, of course, were safeguarded by the likes of Dr. Joseph Mengele. You know who that guy is. That's bad news. Before it became less profitable to be a Baptist minister than a liberal Democrat civil rights activist and a candidate for U.S. presidency, Jesse Jackson railed against abortion, calling it, quote, black genocide, and comparing abortion to slavery. According to Jackson, the idea that a baby was personal property of the mother and could do with whatever she pleased was literally the premise of slavery. This may be the first time in my life I've agreed with Jesse Jackson. I mean, that may be the smartest thing he's ever said.
I don't think I'd agree comparing it to slavery, though.
No, but what he's saying, he's not saying abortion. He's not comparing abortion to slavery. What he's saying is that the concept that a mother owns the baby and has the right to do with it as she pleases is literally the premise of slavery.
Okay.
Because at the time, right? I mean, you had white people all over, and you had different people, humans all over the board, who thought they could own people and do whatever it is they wanted to do with them. Dallas just smoked himself in the face with the microphone. If you're not watching the show, you better. You need to go to www.thehometownheartbeat.com. Check us out on Facebook or on YouTube. But again, so the inconsistency here is mind-numbing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's absolutely mind-numbing that this doesn't get addressed. How does this not get addressed more than it does? Are you hearing this for the first time, Dallas?
Yes.
That's terrifying. Connor, did you know any of this?
Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't been paying attention. I've been working on stuff.
Oh, my goodness. It's okay. It just, you know, Kanye's a goober, and he's not really running for presidency. He's just going to take votes away from Joe Biden so that Trump can win, which is a fantastic plan, I think, because now there's going to be a bunch of people that write him in, which is...
Yeah, and he came out, I think it was about a month ago now, Kanye did, and, like, it was leaked that he said he regretted supporting Trump, but I feel like that was all a ploy. Like, he knew that he was about to announce a running for president, so he didn't want people to be like, oh, he's pulling votes from Biden. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, he is.
I think he is, too.
It just... It hurts my heart that we can't have this conversation, that we can't look at people for who they are. Because, look, and there's another article we can jump into where we go through, like, CNN's handling of Mount Rushmore when each president went and visited the mountain, and their response to each one and how wholly inconsistent they are. But at the end of the day, this is spot on by Kanye. For those of you that aren't aware, let me educate you. Again, you're listening to the smartest show on radio, Hometown Heartbeat, with the smartest host in radio, your big, beautiful, bearded host, Zach Walker. And I am going to tell you the truth at all times. The truth is Planned Parenthood was created as a tool for controlling the population, and at the time, controlling the population meant limiting black birth. Boom. There it is. Truth bomb. You're welcome. I won't even charge you for it. How do we let this go? How do we say Black Lives Matter yet we abort? Let's find the numbers on that. Let's pull. I'll find the numbers on that, and when we come back from the break, we'll talk about that, and we'll get your phone calls at 1-866-494-WVNN, 1-866-494-WVNN. You're listening to Hometown Heartbeat. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Hometown Heartbeat. I'm your big, beautiful, bearded host, Zach Walker. We are looking at abortion numbers. They're hard to find. Have you found anything, Connor, in there? Have you been looking at all?
Nah, I've been working on some other stuff for the show.
What are you working on, buddy?
Our polling slides in between. I've been messing around with some new software. I'm hoping to get it to where our podcast can be split into chapters so that people can navigate it more easily. So you can click a button and it'll take you to segment 4.
Oh.
So I'm messing with that. So we will see.
That sounds really good. Sorry, I was getting a drink of water there. I'm parched. Since I can't find solid statistics on abortion, I'm not going to fake it and just pretend. So we'll do some research on that and come back with that tomorrow. But I do want to talk about, while we're here, let's talk about coronavirus a little bit. Let's really get some folks riled up. Maybe get some phone calls coming in. Call us at 1-866-494-WVNN. Tell us how you feel about the mask ordinances that are being handed out all over the place. Because I don't know how I feel about them. We were in Seaside, and you were required to wear masks within certain stores that I chose not to go in. But let's talk about how you feel about it. I know how I feel about it. I want to hear how you feel about it. 1-866-494-WVNN. How do you feel about having to wear a mask in Decatur, for instance, or in Madison, for instance? As far as I know, Limestone County is not under a mask ordinance yet. But I know it's something that is high on the priority list for a lot of people's opinions. I will tell you where I land on it as a Christian. I've got no problem with caring for your fellow man and wearing a mask to protect them from the spread of this disease that finds itself to be slightly worse than the flu. But here's my problem. My problem is this. If you aren't wearing, the phrase face covering is where I get really frustrated. Because just asking people to wear a face covering does nothing. It doesn't stop the nanoparticles from getting out or in. And quite frankly, it's no different than any of the other patronizing that's gone on within the last 3 or 4 months of both race and everything else. I don't know. It's one of those things that for me, I feel like it's a big, scary response to fear mongering and the things that are going on. I don't know. I don't feel like this coronavirus thing. I don't know. Where do you land on it, big guy?
I think I'm kind of where you're at. I don't think the mask is going to protect us like everybody thinks it does. I feel like it's a false sense of security. And, I mean, I'll wear one if it makes other people feel better, I guess. But I don't think it should be required personally.
I just feel like even if it, what – I don't know. It feels like to me it would be very much easier to do if there was something coming behind the ordinances in the way of science saying that a face covering works. Like somebody just articulate to me scientifically why I should, and I'm absolutely. Now that being said, I'm kind of find myself like you, whatever. If that's what, if Limestone County came out and said we're going to wear a mask, I would disagree with it openly. Probably because unless they came out and said, hey, here is why they're being termed fashion face coverings. That's the mask you buy, say at the gas station that just is somebody's dirty sock that they fashioned into a mask and they sell for $2 a piece. Maybe it has a cool cat on it or a face on it or whatever. I went to Dick's and bought one of those mission face cover things like fishermen wear. What's that gonna do? It's got some great UPF. It'll block out, I won't get sunburn, but I don't think it's going to protect any nanoparticles or stop any nanoparticles from going in and out. I saw another illustration the other day. It was a painter. He was a professional painter and he used a spray rig. I don't know if you've ever used a spray rig, Dallas, or know how that works, but it's it's an airless sprayer. So you stick the thing down in the paint and you turn it on and and it just spray, and so it sprays these very, very small particles of paint, and as it was sprayed, this man, like, he wore a mask, and when he took his mask off, the bottom of his nose was covered in paint. And he was like, well, I mean, these masks, like, paint particles are bigger than the particles of the virus, yet they got through the mask. And so I just want to understand if there's some science out there that somebody can articulate that isn't political or agenda driven, and there's a real scientific study to back it up, I'm all in. I'm all ears. I want to hear about it. But right now, I think it feels more political than anything, and that's what I don't like about it. We got a phone call. Mark on line 5. Mark, bring it in here. What you got for me?
Well, I was just going to help you out on the abortion question thing. At first, I was going to ask you how you were trying to find your number. If you're using Google, you're not going to find anything useful. I use DuckDuckGo, and I got some good information pretty fast. And
what was the name of the resource that you used?
DuckDuckGo for a search engine. You don't run into the liberal filtering that Google does.
Oh, wow.
But I've got a hard number that says on average every day 1,876 black babies are aborted in America, and it ends up being more black children are aborted than are born.
I'm hesitant, simply because not that I'm saying that I don't agree with you or that you're not sitting there looking at numbers, but what is the source of your information?
It was a website or a site that I can't look at it now because it's on my phone, but I think it was called Black Genocide. But there was a lot of the information is broken down by state, and I was looking for a national number. But all the numbers were about, showing the same thing, that there's a higher percentage of black babies aborted than live births in New York and Michigan.
I was looking at the Guttmacher Institute or whatever, which seems to be pretty liberal, a pretty liberal organization. But it actually had the other way, that there were more white babies aborted than black. But again, you can't.
Well, that might be true just because there's more white people than black people, but that still doesn't.
Let's see here. I'm looking at. Let's see. Yeah, so you're right. I mean, and these numbers are tying in. I appreciate the call. And my question is still, and I'll ask you this. I mean, how can we claim Black Lives Matter when even if your numbers aren't 100% accurate, the concept that they're even out there means that we have a problem there. And so, where's the consistency in this? Where are we supposed to land on all this?
To me, it's even worse than that, because I'm in this discussion group where, we go back and forth, and they demand evidence and all this stuff, and they just declare themselves the arbiter of all evidence, so they throw everything I put out. But I said I'll give the first rip about Black Lives Matter when they give the first rip about all the black people being killed in Chicago. You never hear anything about that.
No, and the problem, I think, and where we have to be careful is, and I just found the numbers. The numbers I found were from 2017. 34.7% of total abortions, totaling up to 295,000, were black children in 2017. So almost 300,000. There were 575,000 live births and 300,000 abortions. And again, that's 2017. That's not this year by any stretch. But again, and where we have to be cautious is you're right. You're right in terms of I don't giving a rip or caring about it. It's less about that. It's more about consistency. And for me, it's one of those things that, like, it's a good call, and I appreciate your call. It's just one of those things that we have to look at with the broad spectrum, the full scope. And right now, Black lives do matter because those who are being abused by police are important, and racism is important, and it's evil. But we also have to address that within our own societies and our own ethnicities and our own groups, and that's being ignored. So you're listening to the WVNN. I'm your big, beautiful, bearded host. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Hometown Heartbeat. I am your big, beautiful, bearded host, Zach Walker. Give us a call at 1-866-494-WVNN. Let's light up the phones. Let's light up the phones. Here we go. Let's go ahead and just get this started. Long week of vacation, nice and relaxed and non-agitated. First day back. Here we go. Rich from Huntsville joins us. Rich, what can I do for you this morning, buddy? Did you miss me?
Oh, yeah, man. Welcome back, Zach.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks.
Yeah, I wanted to just touch on Chicago for a minute. To me, Chicago is the perfect example of, police really not being useful because, Chicago does have a high murder rate. And, I think people had a misconception that police prevent crime. But they don't prevent crime, or it wouldn't be so many murders up there. All police do is lock up people that's been accused of crime. So I think the whole aspect of policing has to be focused on crime prevention instead of just locking up people.
Okay. I don't know that I disagree with that last statement. I mean, I think police should absolutely focus on crime prevention. Let me ask you a question, though. What do you say about the statistics in New York that are going through the roof now as they've defunded the police by $1 billion and the plainclothes unit was disbanded and crime is up over 200% over a period of 20 days? What do you say about that? I mean, because obviously the numbers there would say that as the police numbers went down, the crime numbers went up. So those statistics would go against your claims about Chicago.
Well, no, I think what you just said right there, that's like too soon. It's not enough information. How long has that been trending? Just for the last.
Well, it's been trending since the day they took cops off the street. I mean, they decreased the number of police, and immediately there was a correlating response in violent crime.
Well, that's just like the coronaviruses. You have peaks, you have spikes. So, like I said, I would still want more time to, see where those numbers go from there. At least maybe a year from the date that you stated.
Oof, that's a lot of dead people, Rich. That's a lot of
people die every day.
No, yeah,
people
I'm aware of that. A lot of them at the hands of other people. But here's what I would say about Chicago. I mean, my thoughts on it. And thanks for calling, Rich. My thoughts would be there's more of a correlation to poverty than there is to lack of policing. I'm sure the fine Chicago Police Department it does everything it can, but when you have that amount of violence, that there isn't. I mean, what can you do on a regular basis? How can you prevent all? I mean, obviously, you'll never prevent all crime unless we go full blown Minority Report, which Tom. Dallas is looking at. Okay, I forgot you're like 12. Minority Report is a great movie that they have. They have these like what are they called? Pre-something. Anyways, the precogs, and the precogs can see crime before it happens, and then the precogs say, "Oh, well, Dallas will commit a crime on such and such day." It spits out the shiny ball with your name and the date and everything on it, and the pre-crime unit they fly through the air in their cool little jet spacesuit things, and then they drop down and they prevent crime from happening. Obviously, utopian, fake, fantasy land, but still, like the whole thing about that movie is like. One of the cops ends up getting, like, the ball spits out his name, and he, like, grabs it, and he's looking at it, and he's like, oh, my goodness, I'm going to kill somebody. So then he runs, and anyways, so, I think that's probably what Rich wants. It sounds like that's what Rich wants. But unfortunately, Rich, that is not possible. But thank you for the call, and that was the best call that we've gotten from Rich. So Rich is moving up my list day by day. We already loved him a lot, so thank you for the call, Rich. I look forward to it on a daily basis. I want to give credit where credit's due. I feel like a lot of times we don't have positive stories on this show, and that's probably because we talked about it Talked about it on Friday. There's not a lot of positive out there, and so our ready, shoot, aim segment will ready, shoot, and aim to try to be more positive as we build that out and kind of build the show out. But Ford CEO Jim Hackett, Jim Hackett. Can Jim hack it? Yes, he can. That was terrible. Had the perfect response to a group of virtue signaling employees. So essentially, 2/3 of police vehicles in the country are Ford. Okay. So that's 66% of all cop cars in America are Fords. There's a letter that employees sent to their CEO, and I just want to read you an excerpt from the letter. On June 1st, you communicated to the company your commitment to, quote, lead from the front and fully commit to creating fair, just, and inclusive culture that our employees deserve. We thank you for your leadership on this initiative. We also appreciate and fully support your statement against, quote, superficial actions, and we write to push for real action by Ford Motor Company to address our role in the structures that perpetuate racism in society. On May 25th, 2020, George Floyd was murdered by, you know how that goes, alongside a Ford police interceptor. Days later, police officers drove around in Ford police interceptors into crowds of protesters in New York City and Los Angeles. During these past weeks, our vehicles have been used to deploy chemical weapons, banned by the Geneva Convention. Throughout our history, the vehicles that Ford employees design and build have been used as accessories to police brutality and oppression.
Who said this?
This is employees of Ford. Okay. So they're writing this to the CEO. I'm trying to just make it through this without choking. We know that while many join, support, or supply law enforcement with good intentions, these racist policing practices that plague our society are historic and systemic, false, a history and system perpetuated by Ford. So now we've taken racism in policing, and we've taken it all the way from to now it's being perpetuated by Ford for 70 years. The little blue oval is now racist and has been for 70 years. We are long overdue to, quote, think and act differently on our role in racism. The letter was repeatedly being circulated around Ford's headquarters in Dearborn, Michigan, and employees were asked to digitally sign on. Inevitably, Mr. Hackett, the CEO, caught wind of the letter and addressed the issue in an office memo. In the memo, he kindly but forcefully clapped back at demands with logic and common sense. Here's an excerpt. The issues plaguing police credibility have nothing to do with the vehicles they're driving. One would think such a notion would be obvious, but obviously these people are stupid. Here's more from his response. As we imagine the future power of our connected vehicles, smart Ford vehicles can be used not only to improve officers' ability to protect and serve, but also provide data that can make police safer and more accountable. Just think, dating back to the Model T Ford. Has more than 100 years in serving first responders, and that leadership over the decades has been earned by co-developing our purpose-built vehicles and technology with police and emergency agencies to make our vehicles the number one choice. By taking away our police interceptors, we would be doing harm to their safety, making it harder for them to do their job. Again, this is why, given our insight, new capabilities, and leadership, I believe these unfortunate circumstances present Ford with an even greater opportunity to not only innovate new solutions, but also leverage our unique position to support the dialogue and reform needed to create safer communities for all. Look, here's the deal. I'm going to break this down real quick. This is a misguided attempt, and this is what happens when the mob rules. This is what happens when the mob rules. Common sense, logic, everything goes out the window. She gone forever. Aaron Hernandez. Like it is gone. It disappears forever. You can't get it back. You can't change course and go a different direction. Nothing. Like the fact that these people, they truly believe that Ford somehow has perpetuated, quote, systematic racism for 70 years by simply providing that. I guess that's like saying Glock has perpetuated murder since their inception because are you kidding me? A tool is not inherently, it can be purpose-built, but it is inanimate. It's an inanimate object. It cannot be racist. It cannot be happy. It cannot be sad. It can be fast, but it can't have feelings. This is preposterous. And the fact that this Ford CEO decided not to bow down like the Redskins is fantastic. But it just goes to show that they will always follow the money. And it's one of those things that I'm proud to see that happen. I'm proud. I'm happy for Ford. Mr. Haggett is an American patriot, unfortunately. That's probably an overstatement, but it felt like the right thing to say in the moment. You're listening to Hometown Heartbeat here on WVNN. I'm your big, beautiful, bearded host, Zach Walker. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Hometown Heartbeat. I am your big, beautiful, bearded host, Zach Walker, here in the studio with producer Connor and DJ Dallas. You like that?
That was nice.
Anyways,
Was I supposed to finish that?
no, it was fine. I just wanted to see what you thought about my Bruce Buffer voice. I'm kidding. That wasn't. Never mind.
No.
So here's a story here that I want to end on, and then I want to talk about our show here for a minute. But NBC News spent weeks reporting on a contributor's journey battling coronavirus, but he never had it.
Okay. All right.
Dr. Joseph Fair, a virologist, believed he had the virus, appeared on air numerous times to discuss his struggle with illness. But Fair, on Tuesday, admitted that he tested negative for the virus multiple times, but had originally believed he had it regardless. Fair also tested negative upon taking the antibody test. So this should be terrifying right here. This guy went into the coronavirus ward and spent 2 weeks in the coronavirus ward of the hospital and never got the virus.
That is crazy. It's also not very smart either. But did they not test him when he went in?
Yeah, he tested negative, but they treated him for COVID-related comorbidities despite testing negative by nasal swab. Now, by the way, his Twitter handle at CureFinder, Dr. Joseph Fair at CureFinder. How about he had pseudo COVID, which literally
It's American
means
hero right there.
fake COVID. He says, I was severely ill for 2 weeks, 4 days of it in critical condition, resulting in pneumonia, diffuse lung injury, and 18 pounds of weight loss. And never had it.
So what did he have?
On the he says it's a mysterious
Oh, it's
illness.
another.
Mysterious illness. Who knows? This guy's an idiot. Fair suggested during an interview on the Today Show May 14th that he may have gotten the virus through his eye during a flight. Good Lord, this guy was specific. To have never had it, I was on a flight and I felt a minor droplet fall in my eyeball. I got COVID. I went to the hospital for 2 weeks.
We're gonna have to start wearing like eye patches.
No, just full face shields, dude. You can 3D print them. You know, everybody's got a 3D printer at the house. So, right?
No.
I don't either. It's okay. Okay, so I want to end the show here. We've been at this a couple of weeks now. You guys are the best audience in radio, and we're the smartest show on radio, and we enjoy this very much. I do want to continue to develop our show. I want to continue to grow and add segments and add quality content to what we're doing in terms of concepts for segments, creative segments, things like that. So I want to engage you, the listening public. If you have an idea for a segment, I mean, you've listened to me now long enough to know my personality. You know what I like and don't like. You know how I react to certain things, and you probably have something you like and something you don't like. I found out after spending a week with my parents that there were certain things they don't like about what I do on the radio. But you guys are really engaging, and we're thankful for that. I'm so happy to be able to be doing this, and we're excited to see what comes from it as we grow. But I want to hear from you. Go to the website, thehometownheartbeat.com, click Contact Us, and in that form right there, send me any ideas you have. Any ideas you have for segments or for you name it, like just what you want to see us do. We want you guys to enjoy the show, and we know that you do, and we thank you for that. But we want to grow as well. This is I know this is probably a big surprise to you because of how professional I am, but I've never done this before, and so there was sarcasm in that for those of you that don't. We've got some new listeners right here at the top of the hour, so or I guess this is the bottom of the hour. Is this the bottom of the hour?
Yeah.
See, that's how professional I am. I know top and bottom of the hour because I'm in the biz. But no, we want to hear from you guys. We are super excited to keep doing this, and we know that you guys are too, and we thank you for that. So again, go to thehometownheartbeat.com, thehometownheartbeat.com. Click on Contact Us and send us a message. That with your ideas, give us your segment ideas, give us you name it, we'll do it. Literally, there's not much I won't do. So it could be a lot of fun. We're excited to see where this show goes. We learn something new every day, like duck, duck, go. How about that? Did you know that was a thing? I didn't know that was a thing. Connor probably likes it. It seems like a pretty private search engine. Connor's all about the incognito back there. I don't know how real it is. Connor, you need to look into that, see what DuckDuckGo actually is.
I'm familiar with it.
Oh!
Yeah, I've used it before as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's because I'm old, apparently.
Nobody said that.
It's an old thing. You guys have both used DuckDuckGo, and I made that guy say it 4 times so I could understand what he was talking about. You've listened to the Monday morning edition of Hometown Heartbeat here on WVNN. Make sure to go to thehometownheartbeat.com. Click on podcast at the top. You get the archive version of the show every single day, commercial-free. Connor's working on even making it better for you. We will be back tomorrow morning, bright and early, and I look forward to seeing you guys there. This has been the smartest show on radio, Hometown Heartbeat. We'll see you tomorrow.